Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. It's the 10th of September 2022 and it happens to be a Saturday. I realized that in the last 3 months I had wandered off a little bit into geopolitics and non-genomic topics, and in the process lost track of our main focus, which is genomics. I'm firmly back into our focus area. In the last 2 days you would have noticed that I first published an update on CRISPR Therapeutics and then one on Illumina, and today I want to talk to you about Beam Therapeutics. I think it's in a very interesting stage and seems to have potential. So let's get started with it. Welcome back, friends. Today when I talk about Beam, I would like to start with Beam 201. Using base editing, Beam 201 is being designed as a leukemia and lymphoma treatment targeting CD7, a protein expressed in T cells. Beam uses base editing technology to alter one of the four main bases that make up the human genome. As you guys know, it is T, A, G, and C. Those are the four bases that we are talking about. The Beam base editing method avoids double-strand breaks and the resultant complications. You would be aware that in CRISPR-Cas9, DNA helix is opened to make up larger edits and causes double-strand breaks and the risk of side effects. All that is avoided with base editing, so that is the positive for base editing. The Beam 201 IND was submitted at the end of June 2022, and by August, FDA informed Beam that a hold is being placed on Beam 201. Elaborating further, it seems that FDA's concerns about Beam 201 include questions about the company's gene editing technology. FDA has requested additional control data from genomic rearrangement assessment and further analysis of certain off-target editing experiments. The FDA is also looking for more control data for a cytokine-independent growth assay and updated investigator brochure that includes information regarding any new non-clinical studies. The company has said that it expects to be able to respond to agency's questions in the fourth quarter. This sets up the scene for response in the next 60 to 70 days because we're already in the fourth quarter. In its disclosure, Beam has revealed that more edits than expected are necessary to make its cell therapies fully allogenic. This could mean that Beam have their hands full with Beam 201, and any additional CAR-T therapy would not be announced until the end of this year, until they have satisfied FDA and successfully obtained IND for Beam 201, which I think naturally would be their first priority for this year. In response, on August 1st, Beam's share price fell from 70.26 to 56.70, and the share price is currently at 56.51. So it clearly shows that the market has not taken kindly to the IND hold placed by FDA. But in my opinion, I don't think we should worry too much about the hold by FDA, because base editing is a new technology and FDA is looking at it for the first time, and it's natural for FDA to ask more information so that they could fully comprehend and understand how base editing works and also do a good risk evaluation so that they have the comfort in moving further. So I think this is natural and should be considered as an asset building activity as far as Beam is concerned. And having said that, however, there is a lot going on with Beam. Earlier on in November 2021, Beam announced that FDA had granted IND for Beam 101, which is a patient-specific autologous hematopoietic cell therapy designed on a one-time treatment for sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. It's also the first base edited therapy to be enabled. So that's a very big first for Beam, and that's also progressing well. And in August 2022, Beam said it remains on track to begin patient enrollment in its Beacon trial, phase 1 of the 2 clinical trials evaluating the safety and efficacy of Beam 101 in adult patients with severe sickle cell disease in the second half of 2022, and we are already in the second half of 2022, so I'm thinking that the enrollment is progressing and we'll have some more information coming up when they report for their Q3. Beam 102 also for sickle cell disease continues to progress, and the company plans to submit an investigational new IND application for Beam 102 for the treatment of SCD in the second half of 2022. There are other therapies in the Beam pipeline, but they're all in more initial stages, so I won't elaborate more about it. But I would definitely say that Beam aspires to become a multi-program clinical stage company this year. And in my personal opinion, that's a reasonable goal for them to achieve. Now, leaving aside the other therapies in pre-IND stages in its pipeline, there are other reasons why I'm bullish on Beam, and Beam continues to be an interesting company. Earlier this year, Beam clinched a 4-year tie-up with Pfizer. This collaboration combines Pfizer's deep experience in global drug development, including program utilizing messenger RNA, lipid nanoparticles, that is LNP, and gene therapy, with Beam's leadership in base editing and mRNA/NLP delivery techniques. Under the terms of the agreement, Beam will receive an upfront payment of $300 million and will be eligible to receive future milestone payments of up to $1.05 billion for a potential total consideration of up to $1.35 billion. Beam may opt into global co-development and co-commercialization agreements for one of the programs developed under this tie-up. Research and development activities aim to advance potentially transformative therapies for patients living with rare genetic diseases, and targets would be announced at an appropriate time. I checked the Beam pipeline. I do not see any candidates with a collaboration marked with Pfizer so far, so I'm expecting that we'll hear about that in the near future. In addition, recently Beam Therapeutics signed a research pact with Orbital Therapeutics. The pact grants each other access to respective RNA technology and non-viral delivery technology. Orbital, on its part, is handing over access to vaccine and specific protein information to Beam in exchange for Beam's gene editing tools. There seems to be a deeper collaboration with Orbital because Maraganore, a board member at Beam, has tapped Beam's chief scientific officer, Chiara Mella, to be interim CEO at Orbital. And Chiara Mella, who previously served as chief scientific officer at Moderna's infectious disease division, will be joined by another former colleague, Giles Bassin, PhD, who has held a variety of roles at Moderna and will be chief scientific officer at Orbital Therapeutics. So apart from that, earlier in July 2021, I think somewhere around 13th of July 2021, Prime Medicine, a Massachusetts biotechnology company developing next-generation gene editing technology, emerged from stealth mode with $315 million in financing. The financing included $115 million Series A and $200 million in Series B investment. Prime Medicine is developing a new gene editing platform called Prime Editing. The platform is linked to the search and replace function of a word processor with the capability of editing genetic sequences at their exact locations in the genome. The scientific co-founders of Prime Medicines are David Liu, who is a core member of the Broad Institute and professor at Harvard University, and Andrew Anzalone, former postdoc in Liu's lab and now head of Prime Editing platform at Prime Medicine. Liu Anzalone and colleagues at the Broad Institute first described the Prime Editing technology in a paper in Nature in 2019. Prime Editing has a partnership with Beam Therapeutics, which develops a base editing platform capable of correcting point mutations with CRISPR technology. Liu serves as the scientific co-founder of both companies, which share research expertise and intellectual property for assays, know-how, delivery, and manufacturing. John Evans, CEO of Beam Therapeutics, is a director on the board of Prime Medicine. Friends, if we put all this together, the IND hold on Beam 201 does not seem to be a big deal, but only a slight delay. As always, a new technology like base editing is going to surely involve risk, and we are still discovering how de-risking CRISPR-Cas9 can take place, which was commissioned much before base editing. Genomic investment inherently are risky, but the rewards and success can be really huge. I personally think that after falling 58% from its peak price of $138.52, today the share price of Beam at 57.51 seems quite attractive to me, given the developments we have discussed so far. I think that Beam would be a good investment, and as the market turns around and the sentiment improves, there is much gain to be made in Beam Therapeutics. And I'm hopeful that by the end of this year, the IND will be lifted and Beam would truly be a clinical trial company with multiple therapies in clinical trials. And also the first base editing therapy would already be in clinical trials by the end of this year. With that said, I would request you guys to let me know what you think about this video, what you think about Beam Therapeutics. Do you think it's a bullish case out here? I personally feel it's a bullish case. If you like this video, please do not hesitate to put a like out there. It helps the channel. And if you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and help us grow this channel for everything related to genomics. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.